This is a commitment that is going to take a ridiculous amount of your time. There's a chance you're not going to make it home. I'm ex-military. There's a lot of stuff that I've done. My body does not register fear. And I don't have time for you right now. Not today, Satan. I don't have time for you. She's going to watch my car get picked up and land in somebody's upper bedroom in one of these houses. That tornado doesn't care who you are. Don't want to know you. Because the one day you don't is the one day you're going to have an EF4 ripping through your city and it kills you. So, my name is Chad Penny. I've been doing this for about 2 years now. I started in 2024. Man, I've been involved in weather my entire life. I mean, this is really the only time I've really said, I'm going to go out and do something with it. But I've been fascinated with it forever. Everybody's running for cover for tornadoes or bad weather, and I'm just standing there just like, oh, this is really cool. Oh yeah, I should probably do something. I've always loved it. It's just a passion of mine. Some people are just born that way. We're wired differently. And what scares a lot of people doesn't scare us. And I'm one of those people. The worse it gets, the more I'm ready to get out there and be in the middle of it. There's the aspect of, you want to help your community, of course. You want to, try to get warnings out there, of course. Mm-hmm. And that's ultimately why we do it, why most of us do it. But there's always that aspect of, I just love it. So, like I said, a couple years, and, when I do it with my role, I don't know if I could really describe a role. I think I just, if I know something's going to be going on, especially in the area, Southeast Texas area, Northeast Texas area, I've gone into Louisiana, I go out there to try to, be the eyes, I guess, right? And I do spotting locally, I do chasing not locally, obviously. And it's just something I've always wanted to do. If it looks like it's going to be bad enough, then try to get out there and get eyes on so warnings can get put out.
How did you exactly know about SKYWARN training that you gotta take?
Oh, I didn't. For the longest time, I had no idea what it was. And, the last couple of years, we've seen a significant uptick in severe weather, right? In Oklahoma, even down here in Texas. The plains definitely, Dixie Alley. And so I started taking it a lot more seriously a few years ago, and I started researching, what can I do? Like, how do you get into this, for real? And that's when I heard about the SKYWARN program, and I was like, that's a great idea. This is a really good idea. How do I do this? And so I realized, okay, there's classes that you can take. You can go do it in person, or most of us do it online. I think my class was out of Alabama, and I'm sitting out here in Houston taking it. And so I got in there and took the class, took the test, then started really getting serious about it. And, I've decided this wasn't going to be enough. Went and got my advanced certification as well, so I have both. And decided that storm spotting wasn't going to be enough. So that's when the whole chasing aspect began, and I started looking into, okay, how do I do this and stay alive? And everybody can go see a Twisters movie and look at it, oh, that's really cool, I want to go do that. Yeah, until it actually happens. Everybody wants to be a cowboy, and it's time to be a cowboy, right? And you get out there and, you're facing down this monster, and it's just a rage, and you have zero control at that moment. None. The only thing you can control, hopefully, is you and your car, where you're going to be, hopefully. Not even all the time with that. But
this is the battlefield.
Oh, it is. Oh, 100% it is. Yeah, it is. It's you. I've never had it, and I can't. And anybody who says they have, they're lying. Nobody's ever had the same chase twice. You could chase the exact same location, and it will be a totally different situation every time, right? You go out there, you know darn well that there's a chance you're not going to make it home. You know darn well there's a chance things can go seriously wrong. We have examples of that, right? So just because you know what you're doing, just because you have some experience or you have a lot of experience, Mother Nature doesn't care. She don't care at all about your experience. So there's risk involved there. But I've been taking risks my entire life, so this is nothing new. This is probably just the most extreme version of it.
What does your typical SKYWARN or storm spot day look like?
Well, if everything went right for me, if I did my planning prior to the target day, if I was running through all my models, if I was, watching the GFS, if I was watching the, ECWMF, or the, when it gets closer to it, the HRR, or the 3 kilometer, different weather models that we pay attention to, right? And I'm doing my homework. Then the day of is what, I should know roughly what time storms are going to start firing off. Typically they're in the afternoon. It's usually when the atmosphere is a little more prime, a little warmer. It's not always the case, but you know generally about what time you want to be where. Okay, if it's going to start happening over in Northeast Texas around the Dallas area, I need to be up there the night before, preferably, but hotels are expensive. or you want to try to get up there early enough that you're not getting caught off guard. I've made that mistake before. I was up there and I was going to be chasing Shreveport, and I should have been up there way earlier than I was, and I was catching up the entire time. The storm had already started hitting around where I was. I got in my car. I'm heading east, as fast as I could safely go, with pouring down rain and the streets are a mess. I never caught up to that storm. Never caught up to it. What I found out later, that storm was running about 60, 70 miles an hour. And if I'm going 60, 70 miles an hour, you really can't go faster in that kind of condition. You really shouldn't be going that fast. I'm never going to catch that storm, because that storm goes point A to point B. It doesn't care about stoplights, stop signs, traffic, street closures,
open field.
Yeah, it does. Exactly. It does not care, right? It just goes from point A to point B. You have to meander and try to get, to where you're trying to go, right? I never caught it. So I learned a very valuable lesson that day. You have to plan ahead of time. So if I know what I'm doing, I get up at a certain time, I get on the road, I get all my gear, and I try to be ahead of the storm. And that seems to be working a little bit more to my favor. Is it guaranteed every time? No. As we know, weather is extremely unpredictable. There's nothing more unpredictable in life than nature and weather. But it has worked out more than it hasn't lately. So then, you get out there and you wait and you start watching and you start firing off, and then you start paying attention. And, the cells that you think are going to strengthen the fastest or the strongest, those are the ones you pay attention to and try to get out in front of it. You don't want to be chasing behind it. My gosh, man, it was not a fun day. A lot of wasted miles of gas.
What kind of apps you like to use?
I use Radar Scope. I have a Tier 2 Pro for Radar Scope. I like having as much information as I could possibly have, man. There is no such thing as too much information when you're going after these things. I do have a couple other radar. I use my radar. I've used Radar Omega. It's a little cluttered for me. I'm not a big fan of it, but I've used it. They have some 3D models on Radar Omega that are really cool. Not really going to help you so much in the field, because you don't really have the time to sit there and just stare at the model that it's right there in front of you. Look up if you want to know what it's doing. But I mean, I'm a big fan of Radar Scope. You think, well, what's the difference? Well, my radar gives you a broad, it's like a national radar. It gives you a broad view of what's going on all over the nation, right? And other nations too, but if you're chasing in the States, you don't really care about what's going on in Australia. And you are able to get the bigger, broader picture of what's going on. Radar Scope zeroes in on your area, that particular radar that you want on, and you're able to get a much more realistic, time-friendly, because we know they're 4 or 5 minutes late, but it's able to give you a better picture of what's going on right directly above you.
What are the most important things that people misunderstand about storm chasing?
Everybody loves these Twister movies, right? Both of them huge hits. Everybody loves them. That is not storm chasing. That is not storm chasing. There's only one or two of us who go shoot rockets up tornadoes, okay? Yes, he really does that. But realistically, it's a lot of sitting and waiting. It's not the most exciting line of work or career or hobby or however you're doing it. I tell people it's 95% waiting and staring at computers and homework, and maybe 5% fun. I personally think it's all fun. I enjoy all of that stuff, but you get the Hollywood for 5%. The rest of it, if they made a movie that genuinely depicted storm chasing, it would flop. Nobody would go see it except for us, and we wouldn't go see it because we already know what it's about.
Yeah, right.
Boring. There's no way anybody would 5 hours into the movie, because it would take 10 hours to explain it all. You're sitting there going, are they ever going to get to the storm? And then they're going to get out there 7 hours into the movie. They're going to get out there and it's going to be a bust. And so for 7 hours, it was a total waste of your time. And so nobody would see that movie. But realistically, most of us do it because we want to have some sort of ties with the community. We want to help the community out. Do people do it for money? Some of them, yeah, sure. And you know what? There's nothing wrong with that, because I'm telling you, it's expensive. Storm chase is expensive. Your vehicles are expensive. The mileage and the wear and tear you put on them is expensive. The gas is expensive.
Maintenance.
Your maintenance, your hotels, your food, the gear, your equipment. My gosh, it is so expensive.
It is, yeah.
And so, we're down here in Southeast Texas. If I want to go into Oklahoma or Kansas, I'm on the road for 15 hours. Maybe I see something, maybe I don't. So if I didn't see anything, or if it's like a little and done, then I've driven because you got to go back, 30 something hours, and for nothing. You filled up your tank 3 times. You spend over $100 in gas. You're probably, spending time in hotels, and so you got to really want it to do this. And we're not all out there just thrill seeking. Could it be thrilling? Yeah, it can, but that's not what we do it. And I hope there's enough of us out there that can really help change the perspective of storm chasing and storm spotting, because it really is not what Hollywood tries to make it out to be. It's more just a service. We're trying to help our community out. And if we see a tornado on the way, then awesome, great. If we see one destroying a town, that's going to break our hearts. We have never wanted to see that. We don't ever want to see that. We will never take the joy of seeing a tornado over the horrible reality of somebody's life being completely flipped upside down. It has never been about that, and it never will be about that. And so, hopefully enough of us are out there doing a good job, and we can kind of change people's opinions of it. If we could find one in a clear open field and nobody around for 20, 30 miles, perfect. Ideal. Beautiful. Unlike me, I'm down there in Houston chasing tornadoes hitting a big city, and it was absolutely heartbreaking. So there's that too. But yeah, I mean, it's a heck of a career path or chosen path. It's not always a career. Most of us don't get paid, but definitely a chosen path.
Can you share a memorable storm chasing day that stayed with you? Any close calls?
A couple. One of them was a lot closer than the other one. One was like 4 hours closer than the other one. So they've all stuck. I can tell you every single chase I've ever been on. And speaking of wins, but yes, so I had one a couple years ago. The severe weather, I think it was a slight risk. SPC issued a slight risk for the Northeast Texas Shreveport area, which I go up there usually a lot for that. I got family up there too, so it's a little cheaper for me. And so I'm heading up there, and about halfway through, about an hour and a half, 2 hours into the drive, I start getting alerts on my phone of tornado watch and warnings being issued down in Houston.
Okay.
Where I just came from, where I live, where I'm driving 30 minutes and I'm right where I'm supposed to be, as opposed to hours. It wasn't supposed to happen. So I get up there. I had a cell that was coming from the southwest that I was watching. It had gone severe. It was heading towards Corsicana. So I was like, all right, cool. That's my target. That's what I'm heading up there. I'm about 45 minutes outside of Corsicana. And next thing I hear, a tornado touchdown in Houston. And I'm like, all right, cool, whatever, no big deal, just one. Hopefully everybody's okay. I'm going to keep going. I can't turn back. I'm 2.5 hours into this drive. I'm not going to turn back. So next thing I know, the cell that I'm watching drops the warning, and it gets out to near Corsicana. My radar drops. So next thing I am in a torrential downpour. I know where I'm at on the road because my GPS is still working, and I'm semi, acquainted with the area at this point. But I didn't know what the weather was doing at all because I had lost my radar. It completely went out. So I'm trying to get it back up, as well as paying attention to what's going on around me, as well as paying attention to the road and trying not to die, and the map or GPS. And I finally get it back up. And I am right smack dab in this giant, massive rain bag. Huge. And I'm like, oh, okay, well, that explains a lot. And so I ended up going over to my family's place because that's all it was going to be at that point. There was nothing severe the rest of the day. I get to their house, and I find out 3 tornadoes had touched down in Houston.
No.
3! Not 1, 3! I couldn't believe it. So, lesson learned that day. I needed to do my homework a little bit. There was literally nothing I could have done that day. The risk was up there, not down here. Weather's going to weather. And then I had another one. This one's going to stay with me for a long time. I was chasing the Houston tornadoes down in the Klein and Cypress area back in November, late part of November. And the funny things that we do. I'm supposed to be heading west on Beltway 8, and I accidentally take a turn. I take the wrong turn, and I'm going east. And all the time I'm watching this radar, and I'm watching that couplet just tighten up and tighten up and tighten up. And I'm like, that sucker's on. I know that sucker's going to drop. It already has dropped, probably. And so I do like 80, 90 miles an hour down the Beltway east until I could flip around. Well, come to find out, it actually worked out to my benefit. So when I flip around, I'm like, all right, I'm going to go to Champion Forest and intersect it there. And the route that I was on, the road I was on, was a dead shot to Champions Forest, which was awesome. So I get over there, and I see the wall cloud from a distance. And I'm looking, I'm like, is that really? I'm like, that sure is. So I turned the wheel and do it like I was in an intersection. I wasn't breaking the law, but boy, I took that turn fast. And I'm heading towards towards where I think the wall cloud is. And next thing I know, everything's gone. Like, I can't find anything. And I'm looking on my radar, and I see that I am right smack dab in the middle of that hook. Where is it? Where is this tornado? And I'm getting messages, because I'm live streaming it on Facebook, and I'm getting messages from my people like, hey, it's on the ground, it's on the ground. Like, where? And I'm driving around in this neighborhood, and I'm like, oh my gosh, what is going to happen? I've got these huge, it was a very nice neighborhood, massive homes, $1 million homes, huge, 3 stories, some of them more, and I can't find this tornado anywhere. And I know it's right around me. I know it is, because I know where I'm at. And so I'm driving around, and I see this guy. He's standing outside of his front door, just doing this, just looking up. And I pull up, I'm like, sir, you might want to consider going inside. There's a tornado on the go. No, I know, I'm aware. All right, cool, bye. See, this is your day to die. You've decided this is your day to die. Don't let me get in your way. So I just took off. Like, all right, I got a tornado to go find. I'm not worried about you. I have told you to go inside. You don't have to listen to me. And so I just kept going. And right about the time I knew where everything was, and man, I tell you, I am so lucky that I didn't turn a corner and turn right into that thing that day. That was my biggest fear, is I was going to make a turn and it was going to be right there. And you think, well, how could you not know? Well, you don't. When you're in these neighborhoods, it's very hard to see it because you've got these giant trees that can mask it. You've got the housing, these massive houses that can hide it. You got the rain that can hide it. So, and by the time I finally reacquired everything, I get a phone call from one of our members of TDSR, Team Dominator Storm Recovery, and she goes, "Hey, I have you on Life 360 because we have everybody on Life 360 in case something happens, right?" And she goes, Are you okay? I know you're right next to that tornado." And I'm like, "Yeah, I was trying to chase it. Had a complication in the neighborhood." And she goes, "All right, well, 2 of our chasers are stranded. Can you go help them out?" Well, come to find out, they were out there with Reed chasing the same tornado.
Okay.
Like, I was on the southeast side of it, and I think they were on the northwest side of it, and it was like in the middle. And come to find out, there's 2 of them that day. We were in between both of them. At least I was. And one of the guys' truck stalled. Couldn't. He was dead. That is not what you want to have happen when you are chasing a tornado and you know definitively it is on the ground. That is not what you want. So I went and got him, and I ended up, so a 2, maybe 3 hour chase I thought was going to be, ended up being like 12 or 14 hours.
Okay.
Because I had to drive one of them all the way up to Northeast Texas. So, not the most exciting, although for me it was exciting, because I'm sitting there thinking I'm going to die if I make a wrong turn, and I am just like street radar, sky radar. Like, I'm trying to figure out where this stupid thing was. But man, I was very lucky. God was definitely watching out for me that day. We all were perfectly fine. Nobody got hurt. Nobody in the neighborhood got hurt. And got everybody back where they needed to be. And come to find out, it was just a battery. Like, his battery went out or something. Something so simple, but man. So I went out a couple days later. Typically, I would do the damage assessment right then and there, like, "Hey, are you guys okay?" But I got called out, and not knowing the situation, I wanted to get to them as fast as I could, because we didn't know that tornado was going to drop back down.
Mm-hmm.
We didn't know what it was going to do. Never do. So my priority at that point was get to them. But a couple days later, I went back, and the damage there, although not terrible, was definitely enough. A couple days later, garages completely destroyed. Thank goodness nobody was in it at that moment. The tree completely fell through, split it in half.
Oh no.
Cars completely smashed, like, to the frame. Just, mass. And I'm telling you, there were trees that they cut out of houses, out of cars, garages. I mean, the base of it was massive, several hundreds of years or maybe older trees that got ripped out from that EF2 that hit that day. So, yeah, I had some interesting close calls, but that one in particular, seeing the wall cloud, knowing it's there, knowing that it's dropped down right where you're at, and losing it and trying to reacquire it in a neighborhood that you're not familiar with, you have no idea, what is this road I'm on? Is it going to cut through somewhere, or is it going to dead end? And when it dead ends, is this sucker going to be right behind me? And I'm going and breaking somebody's, door. No, I would never do that. But, well, actually, I might if I had it behind me. Trying to get inside someone's house as fast as I could. But, yeah, it was a memorable day. Just one that was entertaining now, but wasn't so much then. Mm-hmm. Kind of scary.
Kind of scary, yeah.
A little bit. Now, scared, I don't know. If this makes any sense at all, after the fact scared. I didn't have time to be scared right then. My body does not register fear. I'm ex-military. There's a lot of stuff that I've done in the past that very dangerous. And so immediately push it back. And I don't have time for you right now. Not today, Satan. I don't have time for you.
Don't bother me.
Got to stay alive at the moment. But going back, thinking about it later, I'm like, oh God, that could have really, really, really turned bad quick. That could have really gotten bad. And I'm sitting there, I've got my live feed on, like I said, and I've got my wife. I look on the bottom and like she's watching it. And I'm thinking, oh no. She's going to watch my car get picked up and land in somebody's upper bedroom in one of these houses. or you know, watch me get impaled by a 2,000-year-old tree. So I told her after, like, don't ever get on my live feed again. Don't. That is not the way you want to find out that I died. So, hopefully it never happens. But like I said, it's always a risk.
What are the biggest safety mistakes you see people make around severe weather or when they storm chase out there?
I think a lot of people would agree. The biggest safety mistake that we as storm chasers make is driving. I mean, a lot of us, you know, depending on somebody's setup in their vehicle, like I have emergency lights in my vehicle. I know a lot of chasers do. It's not so we can run lights and stop signs and stuff, is so we're seen. You know, if we're out on the side of the road, you know, putting in a report or calling or, you know, recording or whatever, we don't want to get ran over, you know, somebody run into us if they can't see us because of the rain. That's why most of us have it. But it doesn't give you carte blanche to be able to run stoplights and stop signs and, you know, go 100 miles an hour down the road. That's really, I think, the biggest safety thing is just, you know, how some people drive. The public, I don't know how many times I can say this. I know everybody says this, and people still do it. Get out of underpasses. Stop using them. That's a terrible idea. I really wish there were laws that would be passed for that. It creates a wind tunnel. It exasperates the danger of a tornado. You know, if a tornado is putting out 100-mile winds, you being under that overpass, it's going to be 150 or more because it is a literal wind tunnel. Of course, it can, you know, you're looking at debris, you're looking at all sorts of stuff that can get blown up, you know, in there. And most importantly, it creates a traffic jam. How is everybody going to get out of the way? They're stuck behind someone else, Joe Blow, who doesn't want to get his Lexus messed up with hell. I'm sorry, buddy, you got insurance, use it. You know what insurance isn't going to cover? You when you die. So that, I think that's a big one. You know, saying, hey, if there's a bad weather, get under an overpass. We got to break that cycle. It's not a good idea, as we know. Being outside, Joe Dirt, looking up at the sky, trying to find the tornado that you know is on the on the ground. Get your butt in your house. That guy, I'll never forget. He's like, "Oh, I'm aware." Okay, but seriously, if you hear the warnings and alerts going out over your phone, which a lot to say about that, then get your butt inside, get to cover.
Take it seriously.
Take it very seriously, because that tornado doesn't care who you are. Doesn't care. Doesn't know you. Don't want to know you. It has a place to go. Point A to point B. No matter how it gets there. Doesn't care. And, you know, obviously you have a way to get warnings. You know, I've said this for years now. Many, many, many years. We are not responsible for other people's safety. I am not responsible. You, other chasers out there, we are not responsible for other people's safety. We try to help out. We go out there and put our lives on the line and face incredible risk to make sure that they're safe. But if they're not taking it seriously, then we're wasting our time. And you know, I'm telling people that it doesn't take very long. You know, a couple hours, learn basic radar. Know what you're looking for. If you see this magnificent little hook here, you probably should know what that means. Don't wait for one of us to tell you, hey, you should get inside. I'll never forget that guy. But I think the biggest mistake the public makes is they just don't take things seriously. And I understand the whole cry wolf, you know, mentality. Oh, we get tornado warnings every day. They never amount to anything. Why should I take it seriously? Because the one day you don't is the one day you're going to have an EF4 ripping through your city and it kills you. That's why.
Deadliest, yeah.
Yeah, you have to. Every time. How long do most tornado warnings last? 20 minutes? 20, 30 minutes? 45 maybe? So you're telling me it's not, your life is not worth going to sit in your closet or your basement or your bunker or whatever you have for 30, 45 minutes and wait for it to pass. And if it's nothing, awesome. You walk out, hey, cool, there's my house. Sweet. Or you walk out and you look around and go, where's my house? It's gone. It's a slab, maybe. And had you stayed in your lazy boy 5 minutes ago, you would have been wherever that house is at this point, probably 20 miles away. Some of them can throw debris that far. Just be responsible for your own safety and take things very seriously, because it's serious. And we're getting a lot more tornadoes. I looked it up earlier. We've had 9 in the first 2 weeks of the year. 9 in January. So what do you think March, April, May, and June are going to look like? Good Lord, man. This is going to be a record-breaking year, like every year prior for the last 2 or 3 years. And we had our first EF5 last year. First. Okay. Debatable, but sure. They classified it as an EF5. First one, I think, in 12, 13 years. What would have happened if those people didn't take that one seriously? Who knows? So, if we're going to put our lives on the line for you, you need to take it seriously. Because if it kills us, then there's not enough of us anymore, what's going to happen to you? So, my take on it. And very likely we're not going to be in a position to save anybody until after the fact. We're not going to. We're human. We drive. Most of us. Your name's not Reed. Most of us drive regular vehicles. I love his tanks that he has. They're awesome. But we don't get to. We don't get to drive these massive beasts and protect it and have these things that go into the ground and
built for the conditions like that.
Yeah, no, definitely not. Mm-hmm. And I'm not going to intentionally drive in front of the path of a tornado to go warn people that there's a tornado coming. You have television, you have a phone, you have a radio, you have 2 eyes. You're already standing outside in front of the house watching for it anyway. I know you are. So, it's coming. So, do something.
There was a picture on Facebook one day, people from Alabama and I think Mississippi, and one of those people on the top of the picture was like, let's take a shelter, and people from I think Alabama says like, oh wow, that's a good one. Tornado on the ground already.
Yeah, I'm aware. Okay, guy. Yeah, that's about right. That's about right. Hey man, to each their own. Like I said, we're not responsible for their safety, so if that's how they want to handle it, cool. But don't be mad if something bad happens. You put yourself there, so whatever.
What advice would you give to someone interested in becoming a storm chaser or storm spotter?
Great question. Have a great life insurance plan. Really just make sure that's really something you want to do. Make sure you know all the facts. Make sure you understand what exactly it is you're getting yourself into. If you know nothing about weather and you went to go watch Twister and you thought that looked really cool and you want to get into this thinking that it is going to be like Twister, you're going to be sorely disappointed. As we discussed earlier, nobody will make a movie about real storm chasing. I made some documentaries and some TV shows about it, but I don't even know how realistic those were. But seriously, do your homework. Know what you're getting yourself into. Know radar backwards and forwards. Know your weather models backwards and forwards. Know what everything is. Know what it means. Know, have people go find them if you don't have them that have been doing it for a while and could explain it to you. Hey, this is what reflectivity is. This is what storm relative velocity is. This is what regular velocity is. What's the difference? This is the difference. Know what correlation coefficient is. Know what that means. Why does that play an intricate part in SVR reflectivity? What does it mean? You need to know that if you're going to get out there. know how far back you need to start looking at weather models. Understand a week, before, it is not going to be the same as that day. Very, very likely it won't be. And so just know what you're doing. Understand that it's not an easy thing to get into. Understand it's even harder on you financially. And I have never, ever told somebody not to do it. But I want them to understand that this is a commitment that is going to take a ridiculous amount of your time, your money. It's very dangerous, but it's very rewarding. And you can, you get to say that you're doing something that will make a difference. But know that that difference comes with a cost. And you better be willing to pay it. So I think there needs to be a lot more of us out there doing it responsibly, safely. But I want them to understand that this could cost you your life. And that needs to be a risk you're willing to take. So if it is, great. Love to see you out there.
Yeah, that's the hidden price.
Oh, yeah. A lot of them. And some of them you're not going to know until you get out there and you understand. Like, there's certain things that will happen that you're not going to see coming. And you just... Oh, and you have to be incredibly flexible. Incredibly flexible. You think you know... You've been doing this 20 years. You think you know it all, you don't. Because that tornado's going to do something, or that storm's going to do something. And... just because you're out there and it's supposed to be a bad weather, that does not mean you're going to see a tornado. Very, very likely you won't. They're actually incredibly hard to find. But when you do and you're able to save people's lives, it's the best feeling in the world.
Mm-hmm. How do you see the future of storm chasing or storm spotting evolving?
Oh, it's going to. It'll evolve for the better. Which is funny you asked that. I actually just got a book earlier today that talks about the future of storm chasing and weather forecasting, meteorology, stuff like that. I actually can't wait to read it. It's called Cloud Warriors. I can't wait to read it. The more technologically advanced we get, the better it's going to be. But with that also comes the caveat of problems, right? One of the biggest issues we're dealing with right now is AI. AI can be your best friend. I put a lot of my weather alerts and stuff out there through AI, and it comes out great. It says exactly what I want it to say. I know because I proofread it every time. And but I've seen a lot of fake stuff out there that's hurting our relationship with the public and their trust. And if you're doing that, not you at all, but whoever is, y'all need to stop, because that is going to not only make people not want us to be around and not trust us, it's going to cost people their life. Because, something's going to get put out there that is legit. They're not going to believe it. Like we were saying earlier about the whole cry wolf thing, and they're not going to take it seriously, and it could cost them their life. So if people that are doing that, they need to stop. People are using AI just to get clicks. Stop. But there's advancements in radar. There's advancements in, I know there are scientists out there right now out of Oklahoma, I think it is, that are trying to get the phased array radar to take place of the Doppler, and which will be great. And it's far more advanced. It's faster. You get real-time updates quicker. I think the average is about 5 to 6 minutes on Doppler, but right now with phased array, I think it said it's like less than a minute. It's incredible. And so that would be extremely helpful. But they got a long way to go with it, unfortunately. But the whole weather community is going to benefit greatly from advancements in technology, as long as we use it responsibly. Unfortunately, there are people out there that aren't, and it's just, we got to deal with them too. We're seeing it every year, right? Like I said earlier, we've had 8 or 9 tornadoes in the last first couple weeks of the year in the middle of winter. Very rare. But it's not it's going to get to a point where it's not rare anymore. Tornado season is going to go from January to December. It already does. Tornadoes can happen anytime, anywhere. But, we're kind of at a point where we're starting to see them more frequently in times that we normally would not see them, right? So again, be responsible for your own safety. Take it seriously. Understand that, it's going to happen. There's nothing you can do about it. The only thing you can control is your reaction to it. You know, whether you're going to go get inside your safe place and wait it out like a responsible person, or you're going to, you know, not. So, one thing I would like to mention, that light was perfectly timed. You know, I mentioned them briefly earlier, but I do want to kind of talk about it real quick. So I am a member of the Team Dominator Storm Recovery, TDSR. So what that is, if people are not familiar with that, Team Dominator is Reed's storm chasing team, Reed Timmer. And so he has the storm chase team, and he also has a storm recovery team that, you know, is associated with him. Sometimes we ride with him and you know, go out there with him, and, you know, if something were to happen, a town or a city gets hit, you know, there's a major issue, you know, we would break away, go deal with the recovery side of it, where he would, you know, more likely continue chasing to get more alerts out. We do search and rescue. You know, just because there's a storm that hit a community, like we didn't go into Houston. They didn't really, you know, it was bad, but it wasn't to a point where they were needing people to go out and do storm recovery. The community took care of it itself, which is great. If they can't, if we have another Joplin, another El Reno, another, you know, one of these massive, more, you know, type events, and then, you know, we go out there and help out with that. We were out at Kerrville, you know, during the hill country flooding with the Camp Mystic, trying to do search and rescue for those kids and help out there. It's a great, you know, great organization. We need donations. You can go on their website or their Facebook. I mean, and there's a link there that people can donate. The money that goes to this group helps save lives, literally save lives. It helps recover. It helps people who have lost everything finally have something to, you know, are we going to make it disappear? No, we can't. That's not going to happen. But we can make your life just a little bit easier, you know, help cut trees out of your house, or, you know, give you food, or, you know, whatever it is to help you out. Help find, you know, a missing loved one, you know, or a missing pet, or, you know, whatever. It's just a great cause. And so we're a non-profit organization, and all solely donation based. So most of the time when we're out there, we're spending our own money. So that's just how much we love our community and trying to help others. So anything anybody can do to help out with that would be much appreciated. But again, you know, get on Facebook, look at what they offer, what we do, and if people are interested, you know, keep us in mind. And as soon as we start bringing people on again, you know, they can apply and come help out for, you know, the community
as a new members.
Exactly. Yep.
Chad, thank you so much for joining me today.
Of course. You bet. Thanks for having me. Appreciate it.
Yeah, appreciate you. Thanks for finding the time.
Of course. Of course. Not a problem. Obviously, this is a passion of mine. It's a passion of yours. Everybody that does that, it's a passion. And so, you know, any way of getting the word out to be able to make people more aware of what's going on above them.
Yeah.
You know, that's what we're here for. So, love being able to do it.